Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast, where fitness, wellness, and multifamily come together. I'm your host, Seal, fitness professional, gym designer, and community leader. I'll be bringing real conversations with industry leaders, game changers, and visionaries who inspire movement in every sense of the word. Now let's go. I am here today with my guest, Brian Mister. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was so excited to have this conversation because you are around the crown, I feel like. Like
my wife and
I was going to say, yeah.
For sure. And now we've got, thankfully, some other help and friends of yours, Lisa Landrum, helping us out.
Yeah.
We just brought on Laura Morrow as well. And then obviously the crew over Start to Finish, who you also know.
Yes.
But yes, my wife and I definitely had the fun of starting that.
Which is so awesome. So for those of you who don't know, Around the Crown is a race that's done once a year, and this is year 6, right?
Year 7.
Oh, year 7.
We include the pandemic year because we didn't do like a virtual race. We did still a meetup. We had to do 25 people every hour for 12 hours a day for 7 days straight. We did it out of Camp North End. We did a pandemic version of a race. So we still had 2,000 people run in 2020, but we only saw 25 at a time.
Wow.
It was a lot of work for 1 week, but we had a blast with it. And it was a different version of running, and I think people attached themselves to it. And we also got to meet people versus a start line of 7,000 people. I can't say hi to everyone. So it was cool. Like if people would walk in, I'd get to know their story. We'd have beer on a table afterwards. I'd grab their beer, they'd see their result, and then they'd walk out of this massive warehouse at Camp North End. It was interesting. So yes, year 7.
Yeah, that's so cool. So year 7, I actually participated in year 1.
Love it.
Which was so much fun. And the difference between this race and other races is that you actually shut down I-277.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a lot to that. So half of the course is on I-277 and half of the course is through the streets of uptown Charlotte here.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It was. I remember the first year, like it was so much fun because it was such a different route, and there was so much excitement and enthusiasm around this particular race, and I feel like that hasn't gone away.
I would agree. My wife and I have yet to run it. Lisa has gotten to run it as a pacer, which is awesome to have her out there on the course. So we hear a little bit of like race report from her, but from other people that first year, we heard people coming back to us and they're like, I had goosebumps on my arm. Like when I went out on the highway, like I never get to touch this thing. I didn't think it would be cool. And then you get out there and you just have these emotions of like, this is my city. I own this thing and this is really cool. And since year 1, we've had this saying that's 5 is greater than 50. So the idea is that we're changing our speed limit from 50 miles an hour to 5 miles an hour. And we think that you can see your city a lot better at 5 miles an hour. So we still kind of play on that and love the idea of like walking on this space that you never get to walk on the other 364 days a year. So it's pretty fun. We're hoping this year maybe there's a chance we'll get to run it, but we also really enjoy being at the finish line to watch everyone come through.
Well, I have to say, for Charlotte, so this is hometown for me. So I've lived here my whole life, and I love the city of Charlotte. So that whole experience was so unique and so cool. And I'm excited because my husband and I are both doing it this year, and we're bringing along some friends, which we're excited about.
Yes.
But I just think that this whole thing like is just unique and cool. And it's also known not just in Charlotte. So you're known throughout the state.
Yeah, I appreciate the support. I'll start there. Thank you to you and your husband for coming out and bringing some friends along. So we are now the 24th largest 10K in the country. We're the largest race in North Carolina, which is for one singular distance. So if you think of like the Charlotte Marathon, they've got the half, the full, the 5K, the kids race. So all of those together, I think, are about the same numbers as us, but us as a one single distance is the largest. Last year we had 37 states, 38 states, and 6 countries. So it's cool to see people coming into Charlotte and how they're experiencing Charlotte, and we're a small reason why they came. So then to get to show them the city that we also love so much. I can't say that I'm originally from here, but I have now spent more time here than where I was born. So I feel like I'm pretty close to a Charlottean at this point after spending, almost 20 years here now.
Oh, yeah. I think if it's over 20 years, you're a Charlottean.
You're in. Yeah.
You're already in.
Yeah. But yes, we're excited to have, and this year again, we're growing at probably about a 15%, 20% growth again. So hoping for about 8,500 registrants this year, which that first year we had nearly 5,000 we thought was massive, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. We're excited again for this year.
So we kind of jumped right in to talk about Around the Crown. Well, because I really am. I'm genuinely excited about it. This was like, when I reached out to you, I was like, the chances of getting to sit down with you right now, because I know this is like crazy timing before the race, which is August 31st.
Correct. Yeah, and we're a month and a half out or so.
Yeah, and so registration is still going on.
Registration is still going on. And the big thing that we really have pushing now, too, if I'm allowed to put in like a quick plug here.
Away. Yeah.
Registration's awesome. Volunteering is what we need a lot of. We need probably 300 to 400 volunteers between water stops, between packet pickup, stuffing the packets the day beforehand, a welcome crew. So anyone that like loves Charlotte and you just stand out in Romeo Reardon Park and say, hey, the ballpark's that way. If you took the light rail here, you're heading back that way 2 blocks. So that's what we almost have to dig for more registrants. We do pretty well on that, which is amazing through our other forms of marketing. But volunteerism is the thing that we've started pushing pretty hard now, which is fun and it's getting better. And that's what our new hire is for. And we're starting to incentivize people more through that. But August 31st, Labor Day weekend, once again.
Oh, so exciting. And it's early in the morning. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to, it's still going to be hot, but it's not going to be as hot as it would be running like at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Correct. Yeah, that first year it was 7:04 a.m. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
We've had to push back to 7:30 a.m. now, but yeah, still pretty early. It does get humid, but I think traditionally we've even been in like the high 60s. Humidity's high, but high 60s isn't bad to run in. And then there's an after party, and Knights Field there has got some shading for you, and we open up the entire ballpark for you to go back in there. This year, our entire expo is in there, so we'll get to leave all of our merchandise set up. Carolina Sports Clinic will be all set up in there for afterwards, and it's just a big party beyond even running on the highway. There's a lot going on that day with that many runners in town.
Well, I know for me, like, I love this season to run. This is my favorite. Like, we just did, my son and I just celebrated our birthdays on Thursday. We ran the River Jam run.
Oh, exciting.
At Whitewater. It was so much fun. So for me, this is like great. I'm like, let's do it. And dragging everybody I can with me. Yes, we will definitely push about volunteers, because I realize like this is the community of Charlotte. The fitness community is huge here. And I really believe like that everybody comes together, especially for things like this, because this to me is very signature for Charlotte, and I feel like it's that thing that people get behind and they're excited, and there'll be people that like want to be a part of it but may not be at that point where they're ready to do a 10K. Yeah. So it's a great way for them to be involved.
100%. And if you think of it from a marketing funnel standpoint too, the very top is you want to see someone out there that looks like you completing this thing. And if you're a volunteer, if you're at a cheer station, you see someone on the course who looks like you mentally or physically, and that allows you to kind of get through that first barrier of like, oh, I can maybe do this. Like, and then you find out we have a free training plan, and then you get to that, and then you find out your apartment has a fancy gym and you can use that. So there's a lot of ways to kind of get that first step in the door and recognize that, especially at our race, like I said before, the idea of this 5 is greater than 50. We have elites out there. They are definitely running very fast. The majority of our runners are out there for a good time, to take a selfie on a highway, to have a beer afterwards, and maybe even have a beer beforehand, and just hang out on the highway and use it as a community run almost more than a race. And we love celebrating it that way.
So as far as somebody that may be like wanting to do it, they're kind of on the fence and they're like, okay, I really want to do this, but that seems like a lot. Like, will I have enough time to run it, because the highway's only shut down a certain amount of time? So kind of give us the insight with that. Yeah,
great question. One, today, as we're recording right now, starts week 4 of training. We have a free training program out there. We have 3 of them from Lisa with Forward Motion. So we have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced program. I still feel like you could jump into that, at least maybe do your own mod version of that and make that happen. But as far as the course goes, great question, because that's always a question, because we're on a federal highway. Right. We have to have, and this is every race in town, has to have a pace maximum of 13:45 minute per mile pace, which we have pacers the entire way, all the way from I think it starts at like a 7:34 pace all the way back to a 13:45 pace. We call that our party pace, and they have a sign that just says party on it, and they are back there jamming the entire time, having a good time. And we've taken it even further this year to continue the party version of it, because we're on a highway, we can't push runners to a sidewalk to get off like a traditional race could here in Charlotte. We have to have a bus that goes back there, and it's always been thought of this like misery bus. And we tell people every year, like, look, your medal's on there, your water's on there. If you twist your ankle, if something happens, like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll pick you up, and we'll actually not take you to the finish line. We'll take you onto the course where you can then run all the way back, and you can cross the finish line yourself, just like you would. Let us help you out, because you can at least try and know that you can get there. And the police kind of don't get as stringent when they get off the highway, which is mile 4. So then they can push you to a sidewalk. We actually keep the water stops out a little bit longer just in case someone comes by a little bit later, or we can help out a neighbor that needs some water. But the fun thing we're doing this year, our bus is no longer like a traditional bus. They have these party buses going around town these days. So we have connected with them. We have the one with the giant lips on the front of it. It looks like a Kiss album.
That's awesome.
And we will have a band on the back of it. And they have the same license that a limo has. So we'll have beer on this bus as well. So if you are in the party pace, you will have a live band the entire time right behind you, which is pretty amazing. So we fully celebrate every runner from the elite to the 1345 and beyond. And each year we try to push that a little bit more with the city to see if we can let go of that pace max, because we really want to welcome walkers out as well, and know that that's kind of how you can start your fitness journey sometimes.
That's so great. I love this because it's to me that I feel like people get so intimidated when they see like a 10K and it feels so big.
Yeah.
And I think like putting that together, the bus and like a band, and I'm making, you're gonna have people probably just hang back.
I hope so. I really do.
I think you're gonna have people just hang back because it's gonna be like the party's in the back for real.
I hope next year we have to have 2 of those buses, 3 of those buses, and it's just like we now have a crew that hangs out behind, and they just get on and have a good time, and that's okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This podcast is filmed and produced by Be Amazing Media. At Be Amazing Media, we provide video and photography services. We work with groups, we work with individuals, we work with corporate clients. It doesn't matter if it's headshots, if you're wanting to film a commercial to share your story of your business, or you want to bring us in and film an event. We're here for you. You could reach out to us at beamazing-media.com. So don't be intimidated by the 10K. Like this is a great, like this was one of the things I really wanted to talk about because I feel like there's a lot of people that would like to try or like to at least take that step. And so it takes that intimidation factor off.
And the group, so our pacers that we've built out, there's 3 pacers per like group, if you will, like a 9-minute, a 10-minute, 11-minute. So the 3 pacers that are at that party pace, they have been doing it every single year. They have been the same ladies that are back there. And now we have one man that's joining them as well. And they know how to encourage you and they know how to get you going. And it's okay to walk for a little bit and then run a little bit, walk for a little bit, run for a little bit. And that's part of training as well. So they are back there to fully support you. And they have been doing it now for 7 years. So
that's awesome.
They're excited to get some more newbies out there to try it for their first time. And that's kind of what's great about the 10K distance as well. Like it is challenging enough that you want to go out and try really hard, but it's also welcoming enough that, you know, I've done a 5K, I've teetered there. I think I'm ready for the next step. And if you have done a 5K or if this is your first one, we can tell you now that the community is extremely welcoming. If there is someone out there saying differently, I would prove them wrong in Charlotte. It's just such a welcoming community here. Everyone is celebrating you when you get across that finish line. When we have our last finisher come through, we line up along the sides and we cheer them on with cowbells and loud music and everything else. So the first is celebrated, the last is celebrated.
So cool. And that's, again, this is why I wanted to have you on, because I think people see it and it looks amazing because it is. But then it's that intimidation factor and you just kind of like crushed all of that. So now I feel like it's opening the door. So you need to go and register right now. And if you don't want to do it this year, but you want to volunteer, like make sure they get in touch with you about volunteering as well. Yep.
Yeah, that's all on our website. All the options are on there. You get a free shirt. You get discounted entry next year, the cheapest entry, which is $27.70 to play on $277. And I feel like we're doing a little bit more this year. We haven't fully announced it yet, but we'll be announcing that program soon, where it's like your amount of hours equals think of it like airline miles. Like it'll amount up to a hat or a race entry, because we operate a few races across the city. So we'll be able to give you an entry to like one of our other races and things like that too.
Loving it. This is so good. Well, because we kind of I skipped like a whole thing. I didn't even talk about who you are yet.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was so excited to talk about Around the Crown, but I want to back up a little bit because I know there was a road to get to Around the Crown.
Certainly. Yeah. So you mentioned, and I'll try not to go back too far here, but you mentioned you were just at the Whitewater Center celebrating with your son. I used to work there, and that was right after, I also mentioned I used to work at Noda Brewing Company, which is where I started a run club out in town, and that kind of got me into this. Then I went over to Whitewater Center and was helping with marketing and race directing there, and got to put on those River Jam runs, and got to put on the green powder run, the Color Me Green run, and all of that stuff. So got into it there, went over to the Charlotte Marathon, worked there as marketing director for a while, had a blast. And then after that is when we started Around the Crown, my wife and I. But the story of it really is that we were driving home from a concert one night at what's the music place called over there?
Music.
On the other side of I-277. Music Factory.
I was going to say Music Factory.
Yeah, we were over there watching someone on like a Thursday night. We were coming home to our apartment that we were just discussing earlier. Over off of Commonwealth, and we were stuck on I-277 from traffic at like 10 o'clock on a Thursday, and I was like, gosh, what the heck is going on? I had a couple beers, and I had the grand idea that I was going to get out of the car, and I was going to race my wife home on foot on I-277, and then down 74 till I got to Bojangles. And my wife thankfully was like, Brian, you probably shouldn't do that, and I agreed. And then that idea just kind of kept like bouncing around in our head for a while, like, what if we had a run on there? Like, how cool would that be? We started looking into other Keystone races in cities. And traditionally, it was more of the 10K, like Cooper River and Peachtree and Boulder. And we were like, man, this could be cool. Like, I wonder what the course would look like. And then the name came to us of Around the Crown. Like, how fun would that be? And then the brand came to us because my wife is our designer. And it all kind of just like started to fall into place over, it's probably a year and a half, because we also had to then get the permits to shut down the highway, which had never been done before. And in all, it probably took 2.5 years to get the permits in place, the brand in place. And so we were creating this brand new company while doing, my work at the marathon and different things. And it was a fun little journey there of getting more into this fitness community and running community here in Charlotte. But it's been a blast.
Yeah, well, that's what I knew there had to be like some kind of story, like what inspired it, because it's not something that I've heard of been done anywhere else. So the fact that you're like, this is after a concert, but I think that's how the greatest ideas are born.
Yeah.
Is it just comes out of something like you're doing, and all of a sudden it just like sparks something.
Yeah.
And now look, you might have 8,500 you said this year?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Yeah, for sure.
So that's awesome.
It is. It's fun. And as far as other cities go and other races like it, we found a couple that go on like federal highways. There's one in Florida that goes over a pretty big bridge. It's a 10K. And then there's other large 10Ks. I mean, the largest races in the world are 10Ks. So Boulder in Boulder, Colorado is about 50,000. Peachtree in Atlanta is about 55,000, which that level of logistics, I don't know if I want to handle. I don't know if I ever want us to go there. I think 10,000 seems like a great goal, and we'll see how that is and, figure it out from there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what is your goal for this? Like, what do you see with this? You see this? What, you're saying 10,000? Do you see more than that? Do you see it somewhere else? Like,
I don't know. I think I'd be curious to push that question back at you a little bit on, not on Around the Crown, but like what you've done in like an entrepreneur sense. Like, we've really enjoyed Around the Crown, and we will continue to do it. And this will be our baby from here on out. And I think it'll keep growing, but at some point, I'm sure the city's going to force us to cap it. So we're starting to venture out and acquire some other races.
Okay.
And we're enjoying that side of it, but we're starting to get curious on like what else in the running community can we work with, and we're talking with Jen over at Start to Finish on what that can look like. Is it a coffee shop down the road where it's very runner friendly? Is it? We've started consulting with other races across the country that want to be more sustainable. We've got a large focus on sustainability and inclusivity, so we're starting to teach other races how to do that. We've poked down the crazy road of like, is it this like running Airbnb in Brevard, North Carolina down the road? And we get into that side of things, and we get into short-term rentals and like build out this fleet of houses around running, and you come in and you get your feature socks and your Brooks shoes and all that stuff. So we're going to still play with it. I think Around the Crown is always going to be a piece of that, and probably the biggest piece of what we do. But I think our focus is getting a little wider outside of just this running race, which is fun.
That is fun. And I'll, even with like, so I've had this podcast since 2020, actually. Okay. So the podcast came about because I was hosting a health and fitness women's event in Charlotte that was supposed to happen in 2020.
I rember that.
Be Amazing Weekend.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Jen was part of it. Like, we had a whole thing around it, and it was a lot. And we had, it was about, the big piece of it were sharing women's stories, like their health and fitness journey and what they had been through and how they got there. And so I remember I was working with SweatNet at the time.
Yeah.
So like
Gosh,
they were a great partner. Yeah. So I'm like, we've run in the same, literally run in the same circles.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Jen at start to finish, like she and I bonded and we talked about like how we could make this, how we could collaborate, what we could do. And then of course, and I had already had the hotel booked, like everything was done.
Yeah.
And then we got word that we were going to have to postpone. And of course, everybody did. And
what you heard, I'm assuming, was like a 4-month postpone.
Yeah, it was like, right.
It's like next thing you know, it's like, all right, this
so
is
so then it's like, oh my gosh, are we going to lose steam of, we had done it in 2018. So I had success from that rolling into the next one. And then all of a sudden the big pause. And I remember thinking, I was like, well, we can't stop talking about can't stop talking about it. What else can we do? And I reached out to SweatNet and I was like, what if I just do a couple of stories? Like, what if I just talk to a couple of people about their story, their journey, and then, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so we started and I not only fell in love with the fact of like sitting down and talking about somebody's story and like, because it's always what's behind it and it'll encourage somebody else. Because I feel like everybody's got some kind of creative or something in them that wants to do something that's maybe bigger than themselves. And so when you hear somebody's story and you're like, oh, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's entrepreneurial, it doesn't matter. Like there's always like, when you hear somebody else's story, just like you were talking about runners, that you want somebody to see themselves in that person. That's what the podcast was for me. And I was like, this is a great way to share someone's story that nobody may even hear because they may not even have the platform to share it, or they're just quiet about it. Nobody knows.
For that woman as well, and for any human, to be able to say it out loud sometimes brings a little bit more to life too.
Yeah.
Like, I've always wanted to do this thing. It's like, oh shoot, I said it. I guess I'm going to do it now. I'm going to get to it,
Right.
which is inspiring in itself. You've now inspired yourself, which is pretty amazing too. So
yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, and that's how the podcast came about. So then we just continued with the stories all the way up till the event. And then we pivoted, let's see, I guess it's been 2 years ago.
That was the word of the year in 2020. Pivot.
Man, pivot.
Yeah, the P word was everywhere. Yes, it was a pivot year.
Well, we did, and we ended up pivoting. We did the event in 2021. Great, successful. And then it was like, but where am I going to go from here? Like, do I keep doing events? Do I switch gears? And so then we really leaned into the podcast, and it was like, I really want to continue talking to people because like it's so encouraging to me. It's encouraging to those that listen. And it's also a platform that can be used to help highlight what someone's doing. And so we continued. And then this year, a year ago, we pivoted into really getting away from my focus on fitness training and events and all that, and really dove into podcasts and Be Amazing Media and cool. Highlighting people through photography and video. So it just shows you like we all like if you go after something, it doesn't always look the way.
It's not a straight line. It's not. No. It is not a straight line. It's a loop around I-277, and then you do one over here, and then you get there, and it's good.
And you color outside the lines all the time.
Yeah, and then you realize, like we know in life, like the journey was where it was actually at. It was not the finish line.
Yeah.
It was the journey, and that was the best part of it all. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the fun part of this is like it's seeing where I ran the first one, coming back and running it again this year because we're actually in town. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But going back just even a little bit more, like where did the desire to run come from?
Interesting. Good question.
Were you running away from something?
No,
or running towards something, or was it?
I was the kid that was like never diagnosed with ADD, and I'm sure I had some form of it, and I always had energy, and I was thankful that my parents would let me get that energy out through like 4 sports at a time. Like I was playing baseball, lacrosse, soccer, basketball, in scouts. And doing all this stuff. So I was always like active, and my notes in my yearbook from my teacher always like, I wish I could bottle Brian's energy up and take it with me. So they did a good job of like letting me just be this loose, wild child, I feel like. And I'm now seeing that in my 6-year-old son, which is so fun to go now like biking with him. I'll run and he'll bike. And we'll be 4 miles in and he'll just stand up on his bike and pedal standing up for like a half mile. I'm like, dude, where is this energy from? Like, how are you doing this still? Like, we're 30 minutes into this thing. So I had all this energy as a kid. I really got into soccer and travel soccer. And then that's what brought me to Charlotte was I tried to walk on at UNC Charlotte soccer, which I did not make at all. I'm not that talented. I had a left foot, which allowed me to play soccer further because there weren't many left-footed players out there. But I got into soccer. I realized I could run for 90 minutes, and I very much enjoyed it. And then I did my first race downtown. You said you're originally from here, so I wonder if you remember it, called the Hog Jog 5K.
No, I do not remember that.
It was part of a barbecue festival, and they had 18-wheelers that were grills. So these like 52-foot tractor trailers would roll up and undo their grills, and they would just cook all day. And then they decided like, oh, maybe we should have a race with this because people are eating so much. So I did this little Hog Jog 5K. This was probably in 2008 or so. I got into it. Story keeps going. Anyway, Whitewater Center got me a little bit more into it. And then my wife got me more into it because she was trying to do a half marathon in every state. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, I'd love to. I wonder how many I had done at that point. I think I'd done like 2 states, like Maryland, my home state, and now North Carolina. And we have been doing that since. We don't do as many anymore right now with 3 kids at a young age. But I think we're both somewhere around like 20, 21 states now.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah, and it kind of just kept going. I got to the half marathon, then I did the marathon. And then from my time at Whitewater Center, I really got into like trail running and ultras and the longer distance stuff. So that's now what I enjoy a little bit more is the slower, long distance, be in the woods for a day type style. It's fun. The running journey is always interesting.
That's so cool. I knew there was a piece of that. I was like, there has to be like something from like maybe in your childhood or something that really kind of steered you.
Like little boy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Uh-huh.
There has to be to like make this your love and passion. Like there has to be a little bit of that. So let's now jump to a new part of what you're doing, which is called the Crown Collective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was excited to hear about this.
Yeah, certainly. Question for you, and
sure.
We may have to cut this. We'll see.
Right.
When is this going to debut?
We will probably I want to put this out by like the first week of August.
Cool. Then we'll say it here as the first time saying it out loud. We'll have it in social media this week of when this releases. And I'll get to it in a second. But Crown Collective is our collection of races and events that we've put together between the Misters and the Landrums, Lisa Landrum.
Yes.
So we're now a force together, which brought in around the Crown, which we've been talking about. Lisa has forward motion camps, clinics, training for middle school and high schoolers, along with adult training as well. She just, or I guess I could say we just put on our first all-female summer camp at Boyce Road Park, which is pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
So I came in the morning to help for checkout a little bit, and that was all I was allowed there. And then I got out, and it was super successful. In the years past, it has been co-ed, and this year we were nervous to see what the numbers would look like, and it actually did better, and which is pretty awesome. And from everything I've heard, they had a great time. So Forward Motion is a part of that. Nota 5K, which I started at my time at Nota Brewing, which I had volunteered at for about 10 years, and then we took over 2 years ago. That's under there. We also took over Charlotte Summer Track Series, which has been around for a few decades now at Myers Park High School. And then we've started a newsletter called Run It Back that my wife mainly manages, that goes out every Monday morning. That's just like nerdy running news here in Charlotte. Like we dive in way too deep on subjects. So it's like, think of Axios for running, but like on one particular subject and like really nerdy on it, but like super inspiring. Not always like the top times from the weekend of like what you used to see in the newspaper, but this cool story we heard about someone, breaking their own PR. So we have that going on. And then the last piece of it that I'll throw in that we'll be announcing early August is we just acquired Race Fest as well. Charlotte Race Fest, the half marathon in South Park. So we'll be putting on a spring half marathon now, starting next April. Which is pretty exciting. So we'll now have a really large spring event and a really large fall event. So that one's traditionally been around 2,000 runners or so. We've started kind of doing the back end of marketing now. My wife has done all the creative, and we'll be releasing that hopefully around August 1st.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the fun of it. Yeah, I love it.
I was like, well, when I saw Crown Collective, I was like, wait, hold on, what's happening? And I was like, Lisa Landrum, Run Charlotte Run. You got start to finish, like all the.
Yeah, and it's fun so that's the one side I think that is very tangible that really people can understand is here's what the events look like. The other side of it is going to be what we were talking about a little bit before is consulting. So we've had a few races in Charlotte already reach out that we do consulting for, like Elizabeth 8K. There's a couple others that we're starting to talk to now. And then we think the third piece of it is going to be bringing in our friends that do things within the industry. So think of like videography and photography. Like we have races come to us all the time and say, who does your photography? Who does that? So we're going to try to be this connector, this hub in Charlotte. And then I think that is going to build to some type of membership platform around you can, rather than signing up for Around the Crown, No to 5K, and Race Fest, all for, let's say, $200, sign up for all of them for like $150. And you also then get these training plans, and you get this like cool backpack for doing all of them. But then we also have group runs all the time, and other stuff that would allow you to want to be a member.
Yeah, this is super cool.
Yeah, we're excited. We say that now, we don't know where it's going to go. We're
yeah,
build
but I
in
think that's
public.
the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And I think because of the foundation that you've built, and it's like you start with one thing and then it connects you to the next. And when you're in such an like incredible community like Charlotte, and the fitness community that is as strong as it is, like I think it is just something that will have a life of its own in a sense. And it just evolves.
Yeah. I think what we've been calling is building in public, and we're waiting to hear what people need right now.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, Lisa was working a lot on safety on greenways and what that looks like to get either blue phones out or more lighting, and working with city council. So we know that sometimes we're going to bend over to that. Other times we're going to bend over to supporting. I was just on the phone on the way here with the Pride Festival, and we're doing a Pride run with them, and what that looks like. So it's going to be interesting to see where our path takes us.
Yeah. Well, and this goes to what I had talked to you about a little bit when we talked on the phone, and I had shared with you that, and Bill will probably pop in at some point, but we had talked about starting multifamily milers, which is part of the multifamily industry, because we're in an industry that people are high stress, and a lot of on-site people are very high stress. And so I come from a fitness background, and not everybody works out, but everybody can get out and walk and run. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to find a different way to connect our community in multifamily, and see if what if we show up and do 5Ks together? Like, what if we go to Around the Crown? What if we show up at your other as a group where it's that moment of you're creating an experience to really connect and create community within this larger community. And then it's supporting you're somebody like yourself that's doing this amazing work with running and creating opportunities for us to come together. So we're looking forward to kind of piecing that together. And I don't even know where that's going to go, because I was like, we'll start with Strava. We'll just connect on Strava and start building it out.
And you sweat away some of the stress of the industry too. We've recognized that the monotony is, it sounds like a bad word, but the back and forth of running is a little bit of a therapy session of just that knocking left and right on the constant schedule of doing that. It calms you down. It has to. And you realize that your troubles that used to be at the work are now the trouble of getting this stupid hill right here that everyone next to me is doing. And I hate this hill so much. And I've forgotten about the 17 emails waiting for me at home, when really it's probably 75 emails.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I feel like running does that, or walking does that, and moving forward and getting outside and breathing natural air, and not sitting in your office of this manufactured air or whatever it may be. So it's nice to just get out and walk with someone. And I feel like some of the stress just kind of drips away in this southern humidity that we have. It
does. And I think just you can take your shoes with you anywhere. Because I know a lot of my friends are in sales, and so they're in their car all the time. And it's just throw your shoes. Have your shoes with you. That's all you got to have.
Yeah.
Just need a pair of running shoes. You're good to go.
You don't even need that.
Right.
I have little side tangent here. I've been running a mile every day now for 5.5 years, and I have found that there are days that I have forgotten my shoes, or I have only business shoes with me, or I only have jeans on, and I have gone out and run my mile in just that, and it works just fine.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
so there's no reason not to run or not to walk.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
it works out sometimes. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for multifamily milers though. That's going to be a blast. It's been interesting seeing how we have sponsors come on, how we have partners come on, how we have groups come on. And you never think about, this industry needing this thing. And so it's always nice hearing the stories that come behind that. And when we see these large groups come in, and it's like, wait, why is Balfour Beatty got a group of, construction workers out here, or whatever it might be. And then you learn the story, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. I love knowing what's going on here and learning a little bit more about our city through running, where the playing field is the same. The hill on I-277 is going to suck whether or not you're running a 4-minute mile or a 14-minute mile. That thing is still going to be a quarter mile long and 300 feet tall, and everyone will feel that same amount of pain on it.
Well,
nice.
and really with what we were doing with the multifamily milers is just the fact of just getting people to move. Because I think for me, being in fitness, and everybody has, at least when I first started 10 years ago in the industry, it was I was this, they think of me, put me in this box, and that nobody would want to do anything with me because it's all about the gym and all, and it's it doesn't have to be that way. And the other side of it is, and, a lot of things are around drinking and social and eating and dinner meetings and all the things. So it's like, how can we kind of like create like a healthy way to connect or a fun way to connect or make it a little different?
Yeah.
And so now I really feel like that's what's going to inspire this group coming together. Is it's just another way for us to connect, but through something healthy.
Yeah, I feel like what I hear people calling it now is the third place. Have you heard that one? Yeah.
No.
Oh, so it's like, I'm trying to remember. Like your first place is your work. I'm going to say this wrong and someone's going to correct us, hopefully. Like it's your work or your home. Your second place is like the bar or the restaurant. Yeah. So what's the third place you socialize at that maybe outside of that? And a lot of people are comparing that to gyms or run clubs and things like that, of this new way to connect that hopefully there's a little less social pressure on, which is nice. And I think I screwed that up a little bit, but we'll look into it and learn what the third place means.
Like you said, somebody will correct us.
Somebody will correct us.
Yeah. Somebody will come on and comment and say, no, it's this, this, and this.
Yeah,
but it's still, but it's the same. Like I met all of my friends, like most of my friends have come through fitness. Mm-hmm. So it's like even meeting yourself, like it may not be the exact same connection like at the gym, but like it's through that whole like fitness community. So that's what I think is cool. And I think that's our goal, is to kind of create that within our multifamily. But before I let you go, I would like to just kind of see if there's anything else, like just from your experience as an entrepreneur, maybe just being a dad, like, is there, trying to like this is a lot that you're doing, that you and your wife are doing. Mm-hmm. So is there anything on your heart that you would want to share or encourage somebody on?
Oh man, I think fatherhood has taught me more about entrepreneurship than entrepreneurship has taught me about fatherhood. And I think the overarching theme there is patience. You have got to have patience in both of those things. And you've also got to have like a good partner. And for me, that's my wife. And she allows me that patience. She gives me the grace for that patience. She is the coach when I don't have that patience. I think that's the biggest thing. And whether that be through parenthood or that be through you starting this new thing, I think I said it earlier, our time frame on starting Around the Crown was 2.5 years. Every year we thought, like, this is the year we got our permit in. Like, surely the city's going to approve us to shut down a highway as this, like, young kid in his 20s. Why would they not let me do that? And, you get pushed around by the world enough, you start realizing, like, you better have your own patience, because if not, someone's going to push theirs onto you. So why not be on your own timeline and let the world do what it does. I'm trying to think if there's more there, though. I feel like that patience and, you mentioned what is your running journey and where did it come from and where is it going? And I talked a lot about, the trail running side of things. Out there, you're celebrated for walking. At the aid stations have gummy bears and M&Ms and potatoes baked in salt. And that's what it looks like. It's not... People aren't asking you what's your heart rate and your pace and looking at your watch the entire time. It's more about like getting to the finish line. And I think that Lisa kind of gotten this one in my head of like, forward is this pace. Like if you can take one more step forward, you're working towards the finish line. And sometimes that may look like one step back and two steps forward. But I think I've recognized that like, and this is going to be a joke on fatherhood and parenthood a little bit here, but like, sometimes being in the woods and moving at a 19-minute per mile pace is better than like being at home and wiping my child's butt one more time or answering why or having someone clinging to my leg. So when you have the vantage point of like looking at running of like, well, would I rather be suffering at mile 80 on this mountain right now, or would I be at home like wiping another butt of my 2-year-old who I love so dearly, so dearly. She's the sweetest thing. But this mountain doesn't seem so bad right now. I'm okay with like looking at the perspective on this thing. So I feel like that's the other thing that I've gotten out of long distance running and parenthood of you've got to have the right vantage point for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's I think patience and perspective.
Patience and perspective.
Yeah.
Those are the words of the day.
Yes, that's the words of the day. Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you so much for sitting down. This was great. Like I knew the conversation was going to be really good, and I knew it was going to be a way for us to share what's going on and how much I love the city of Charlotte. Again, I love the fitness community.
Yes.
Yourself, Lisa Landrum, Jen, like it's just such an awesome group and awesome community to be a part of. So thank you again. Where can everybody find information on Around the Crown?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure.
Very much appreciate that and supporting Around the Crown and supporting the running community in Charlotte. You can find us. Everything is Around the Crown 10K. So aroundthecrown10k.com. Our Instagram is at Around the Crown 10K. And you mentioned Crown Collective as well. That one's actually crowncollective.run. We're moving a lot of our domains over to .run now, which is a fun way to like support the fitness community in a different, like odd way of a nerdy marketing way. But crowncollective.run on Instagram and our website as well. And then if you have any questions, please reach out. My email is Brian, Brian, at aroundthecrown10k.com. Would love to hear your questions, your journey, your feedback, all that fun.
And I think we're going to have to do some type of follow-up after the race. Like we'll do some kind of like follow-up to everything. But again, Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Seal. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Amazing podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone who inspires you so they can feel amazing too. If you want to help us reach new listeners, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, you can find the video versions of our episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Be Amazing Podcast or DM me at Seal Smart. I'll see you in the next episode.